This is compound statements with 3 variables. And you're sitting there going, uh-oh, we're really in trouble now. Looky at this. Okay. What this is saying here, alright, we're going to have 3 things, and I want you to write these 3 things down. A is going to represent milk. B is going to represent eggs. And C is going to represent bread. A is milk, B is eggs, C is bread. Okay? And that's how we're going to go through this. Alright. So in the first part of this statement, we have a parenthesis around B and the downward. It looks like an upside down mountain. Okay? You say, well, it looks like a V. Well, really, it looks like an upside down mountain. Okay? So you have B, upside down mountain, C, which we know that the upside down mountain means or. So now we have a statement of B or C. That's in parentheses. And then we have a statement that starts with A, and it has an if-then. That's what the arrow is. Okay? And all of this is contained in brackets. Okay? So what it's saying here is if you buy milk, then you will buy either eggs or bread. If you buy milk, you will buy either bread, if you buy milk, you will either buy eggs or bread. That's what it says. And that's all in brackets. Now, as you know, when you have the upside down V, which actually looks like a mountain, you have the statement of and. Okay? So what I just told you about if you buy milk, then you will buy either eggs or bread, that statement has to be true because the other side of the and also has to be true. Now, what's on the other side of the and? Well, what we have is the tilde, which is not, and then we have another set of brackets. Now, inside the brackets is milk with a double arrow, which says you will buy milk if and only if you don't buy bread. Okay? So you have A, which is your milk. You have the double arrow, which means if and only if. You have the tilde, which is the not. And you have C, which is the bread. Okay? Now I know that's a lot of stuff. Okay. Now this video is going to actually be in 2 parts because it's going to take us a long time to do this. And it may even be 3 parts before I get done. So, let's get through the easy part first. We have A, we have B, we have C. Any column that has A in it is going to look identical to this one here on the left. Okay? Now we have 2 columns of A. We have A right here, and we also have a column of A right across here. So this column and this column are going to look exactly the same as this one right here. Let's do that. And now, as you can see, this column here looks identical to this column right here. And this column right here looks exactly identical to this column right here. Now, what about the column with B in it? Okay. B is going to look like the second column right over here. this second column, and this column is going to look exactly the same. Let's do that. Now, as you can see, this column right here looks exactly like this column right here. Now, we have two columns of C, here and here. Both of these are going to look exactly like this one right here. Let's do this, okay? This column here is going to look exactly like this column here, and it's going to look exactly like this column right here. Let's do it. Okay. See? This one looks like this one, and both of these look like this one right over here. So far, so good. Now, do you remember what I said about these tilde knots? They're going to look exactly the opposite of the column right next to it. In this case, it's going to look exactly the opposite of the column to the right, right here. And we're going to do the same thing later on with this. But right now, it's going to look exactly opposite to this. Okay, so let's make that column exactly opposite. And you can see, in this column if it's true, this one it's false. This one is true, this one's false, so on and so forth, all the way straight down the line. Okay. Now then, let's go through all this. Okay, we have over here, we're going to start with this one right here. Okay. It's either going to be B or C. Now, if it's both of them, of course, it's going to be true, because it's at least one or the other. Now, what about the second one? Well, it's one or the other. It's either B or C, okay? And in this case, it's B, so again, it's going to be true. Well, in this case, it's C, even though it's not B, and of course it's true. In this case, it's neither B nor is it C, so this one's going to be false. See how that's working? If it's both B and C, then the statement is true. If it's B or C, then the statement, of course, is still true. But if it's neither one, the statement's false. Now I got to fill it in for the rest of these. Let's go ahead and do that. So, in the top statement, you bought both eggs and bread. So this statement was true. The statement is literally saying you're either going to buy eggs or you're going to buy bread. Okay? You bought both eggs and bread, so the statement is true. In this one, you bought eggs even though you didn't buy bread. Well, it said you were going to either buy bread or eggs, okay? In this case, you bought the eggs, so it's still true. In this case, you bought the bread, but not the eggs. The statement is still true. The following one, it's all false. In this statement, you bought both bread and eggs. Okay, you bought eggs here and bread here, so that's true. You bought eggs here, but not bread, so the statement is still true. Down here, you bought bread, but not eggs, and the statement is still true. Now it's completely false, because you didn't buy either one. Okay, well, we're off to a good start here. We have a little bit more to go with this chart, so I want you to stay tuned for my next video in just a moment.